taken out of context.
Taken out of context.
Taking things out of context.
Out of context.
Taken out of context.
Taken out of context.
Taken out of context.
That is so out of context.
And take shit out of context.
Out of context.
No, hey, hold on. So we're gonna flesh this out because I don't want nobody saying we don't take things in context.
Tell me the context.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Straight Out of Context. I am Barbara Ann. Fair use disclaimer.
Free Palestine this, free Palestine that. Some of you clowns are so obsessed with posting damn hashtags that you don't even take the time to actually understand what you're posting about. Free Palestine? Sure, let's free Palestine. Let's free Palestine from Hamas, a literal terrorist organization that chants death to America, rapes people, kills people, kidnaps people, and leaves them bloody and dead in the streets. And also, too, since y'all are so woke and progressive, let's also talk about how they throw gay people off of buildings, behead them, but oh, this is such a progressive cause to plant your flag on. Give me a break. The same people out here posting Free Palestine are the same people who were posting black boxes during the BLM movement because you thought you were doing something. You're not doing something. You are so convinced that you are standing by the oppressed that you are literally standing by terrorists in the process. Grow up. Grow up and stop allowing the media to gaslight you into believing and talking about things that you know nothing at all about. So if you really want to free Palestine, stop sitting with the terrorists who keep them down.
الله حيهم الرجال. الله حيهم. الله حيهم. هاي الطحين.
The Hamas terrorist who spat on and paraded the naked body of fun-loving tattoo artist Cherie through Gaza has been killed by Israeli forces. The 22-year-old German-Israeli woman's mother told a top rabbi that the Israel Defense Forces IDF had killed the terrorist who defiled her daughter. Cherie became the face of the October 7th massacre after being paraded through the streets of Gaza, following the attack at a music festival near Kibbutz Re'im. Miss Loke was kidnapped by Hamas gunmen who took at least 239 hostages and killed about 1,400 people during the dawn raid. She has since been confirmed dead after a piece of skull tested positive for her DNA. Her dad, Nissim Locke, later said she was killed immediately at the festival. She enjoyed herself until the last moment. She was killed on the spot, and not only did she not suffer 10 minutes earlier, she was still enjoying herself. Her body has not been found.
She said, yes, we're going on the car. We're leaving right now, don't worry. And she didn't know where she's driving through. And what we understood, the terrorists were waiting in the roads. They are just waited in the roads for them to come out of the party and not them just go inside the party.
Hey Grok, give me the lowdown please on Candace Owens and her flip to being anti-Israel.
Candace Owens started out loving Israel back in 2019. She's on Daily Wire with Ben Shapiro, defending it like it's family, calling it America's only Middle East ally, no questions asked. Fast forward to 2023, she's turned full throttle, labeling Israel demonic, blaming Bibi for JFK's death, sharing old-school blood libel crap about Jews. Why? Money dried up. Shapiro fired her after Gaza rants went too far. He called it disgraceful. And her show's ratings crashed. Now she's hunting views from anywhere that'll pay. Posts on X say Qatar donors or lefty outrage farms. Folks who hate Israel. Mix in postpartum haze, ego from losing to Ben, and you've got the flip. Husband George is still cashing Zionist checks. Dad's a Tory lord funding pro-Israel Christians. Peter Thiel backs his crypto mess, like Parler. But she's playing anti for the clicks. It's not a belief change, it's survival. Grift, plain.
I don't know who needs to hear this, but your girl Candace Owens, aka Can, is a grifter who never gets it right. She was wrong about Kamala Harris's grandmother. Why we cared about that, I still have no idea. As if someone was sitting around thinking, I may vote for Kamala Harris depending upon whether or not her grandmother was really her grandmother. She was wrong about Bridget McCone's lady parts. Apparently there's photographic evidence that I have not seen, therefore it's allegedly. Why we cared about that one, also, I don't know. And now, according to a newly released letter from Charlie Kirk about Israel, Charlie probably was not by Israel because he strongly supported them. Why y'all are still listening to her, I have no idea. But that's on you, boo. You get your news where you get it.
I've been watching Candace Owens' recent series about the killing of Charlie Kirk, who she even calls her best friend. And honestly, a lot of what she's saying has already been debunked. And the way she's going about this whole thing is not just messy, it's dangerous. First, she claimed that Charlie Kirk and Bill Ackman had a falling out at an event Ackman invited him to. She spent an entire episode spinning a narrative with no proof. But right after that, Bill Ackman himself released actual text messages between him and Charlie showing they were completely cordial, had a great time, and were on good terms. So the idea that there was some big falling out is just false. Second, she tried to cast doubt on a letter Charlie Kirk wrote to Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Candace insinuated that Bibi misinterpreted the letter and twisted it into something it wasn't. She didn't even have the letter. But then the letter itself surfaced, signed by Charlie Kirk, where he clearly expressed his love for Israel and even gave step-by-step recommendations for how Israel can improve its PR against Hamas propaganda. There was no misinterpretation. Candace's claim, again, was simply not true. And now she's questioning Turning Point USA, an organization Charlie built with his sweat and tears from his teens. But here's the bigger issue. She presents these kinds of stories as just asking questions, but in reality, she's making insinuations that lead people to believe lies. And because she phrases it that way, she avoids accountability when her claims get proven false. That's a tactic we've seen from the very left-wing media she used to call out in her prime. The results? Millions of people, especially those who trust her voice, are being led astray by narratives with no evidence. And worse, it causes unnecessary division within the conservative base. Instead of uniting, we're being splintered by false claims and messy drama. We should probably call her messy.com. And let's not forget, Candace was let go by Turning Point USA after her comments about Hitler and the Jews. She hasn't been at recent Turning Point USA events that I've been at, and she's no longer affiliated with Blexit, which I'm affiliated with. So you have to ask, is this about truth or is it about money, attention, or even drifting away from the conservative values she once stood for? At the end of the day, we have to be wise, even within our own movement. We can't blindly follow voices, even popular ones, when they're spreading misinformation that weakens us. For me, this isn't about drama. It's about truth, unity, and not falling into the very same traps we used to call out on the other side.
So Candace Owens released this video.
Their theory is that Brigitte Macron was actually born Jean-Michel Trogneux.
In which she says the president of France, who is married to a 70-year-old woman who he met when he was 15, that woman is actually a man.
Okay, well, where's Jean-Michel? Well, guess what, guys? He's missing.
And that woman fathered 5 children. Apparently, she's saying there's some journalists who reported on this.
Brigitte Macron is a trans woman, and I think the fact
but she's
that
not.
when
Where's your evidence that she is?
Some theory that people have had forever, and it's been a rumor, but these people actually investigated it. She said, I stake my entire reputation on this.
I like Candace Owens uncensored, and she can come back here anytime, even if some of the things she says are completely nuts.
If that's true, that is one of the most wild stories of all time. That the president is married to a woman who's pretending she's a woman. Political show that we're all watching on television.
if anybody critiques her, she just says 3 things are like, you're a racist Republican, you're fetishizing about me. It's like nobody in the political realm. And then she did another tweet where she said, like, it's so obvious that you're obsessed with me. This is not how adults speak. You're an elected member of Congress. Don't pretend that people critiquing you is... It's childish, it's bratty, it's not realistic.
Guess what, guys? Not even less than 24 hours from this video, I wouldn't be surprised if she begins to question Erica and Turning Point.
Another thing that I really do not like, and it is bothering me and is eating at me, is the fact that Turning Point will not release the footage, okay? I don't understand it. Every excuse that I have been handed for why they won't release it makes no sense to me. If you are under pressure, if people are starting to look at you funny as an organization, if they're thinking that, whether rightfully or wrongfully, if they are suspecting because they see this footage of someone quickly remove the SD cards, that you guys had something to do with the assassination of Charlie Kirk, and you quite literally have footage that in theory should vindicate yourself, why wouldn't you release it? Think about that.
I'm not sure why you're not asking yourself why you haven't released the evidence yet. Why haven't you released a text? How come people aren't questioning you? How about this? Why should anyone give you any information? First of all, you're not his wife. And second of all, these are the things that came out of your mouth in less than 1 week.
I felt my energy personally, like last night going into that, I was effectively like soaring in the air above the convention center, like a dragon above, waiting for Erica to just be like, fire. And I was just going to come down and swoop in out of nowhere. All the politicians, all the fake people, everyone was just going to be in that moment toast. So I'm wondering if the federal government has explored the possibility that somebody could have been under Charlie and done that while everyone's looking around and thinking that a shot went off from here, if that was just maybe like decoy number 2 and actually Charlie was shot from beneath him, which then could maybe explain why there was no exit wound. Again, I'm theorizing because I have a right to. I have a right to think. And that is interesting. But over the weekend, somebody reported me to the FBI and the CIA. And I'm not going to prison alone. I'm taking all of you guys. First, let me tell you guys about Preborn, because I've watched too many people who I'm close to. I kept looking online, and strangely, I'm not kidding, and I'm going to show you these messages. I came across what looked to me like a bunch of people talking about bees. You're going, what do you, like literally bees. You don't get to ask those questions. What's wrong with you, Mom? Why are you so scared?
So she went from insinuating that perhaps it was first Israel to then the feds. And then I think like there was like someone else, right? To now turning point. I am telling you, I'm not going to be surprised if she begins to question Erica Kirk. Yes, Erica, the one that's mourning the death of her husband. The same one that she won't stop talking about, disrespecting his name, his family, his wife, and his followers by not releasing the evidence. Be wise.
I'm shaking right now. I can't even get my words out. I just got off Candace Owens live, and she finally directed her energy where we already knew she was going to eventually. The silence from Erica Kirk is not going to work no more. Candace Owens just basically said the ball is now in your court. Call me a liar. Put a yes or no to it. And if you call me a liar and say that this is not what it is, then I'm going to drop receipts. In fact, I'm going to drop videos. Candace Owens is not playing no more. All of you guys in my comments acting like they're working alongside Erica. She's scared. She's laying low. Why is Erica doing all these podcasts? Why is Erica going on tour next month? Like, it's just a whole lot. It doesn't give scared widow. It doesn't give grieving widow at all. And this whole narrative that Charlie Kirk had a whole change of heart when it came to Israel, Candace is saying 1,000% that's not the case. And if you want to challenge me, I'm going to drop the receipt. So let's do this. I told you guys it was going to get messy. I told you guys it was about to get real. But watch this clip, the entire clip.
Because I'm very aware of what's going on, okay? And I don't know how the executives over at Turning Point USA sleep at night, okay? I don't know how you can present yourselves as a Christian organization and not be dedicating yourself to the truth. No matter what the cost is, you tell the truth. That's it, okay? You don't hide it. You don't try to obfuscate it. You don't try to say, well, wait until the memorial event before we start looking into who murdered him. You tell the truth and you tell it immediately. And I don't think they're capable of doing that. And I have an idea as to why that is. I think the same people that were pressuring Charlie are pressuring them. In fact, I know that for a fact. So they might need my help, okay? I'm going to state this, and I'm going to challenge Turning Point USA executives to issue a very clean statement saying that I am lying if this is not true. About 48 hours before Charlie Kirk died, Charlie informed people at Turning Point, as well as Jewish donors and a rabbi, that he had no choice but to abandon the pro-Israel cause outright, okay? Charlie was done. He said it explicitly, that he refused to be bullied anymore by the Jewish donors. Can you guys answer? Did he express that? Did he also express that he wanted to bring me, Candace Owens, back because he was standing up for himself? And then did he, just 48 hours later, conveniently catch a bullet to the throat before our onstage reunion could happen? It's a yes or a no, okay? Let's stop this ditching. Let's stop the dodging. Let's explicitly, I want to hear from Turning Point USA that I'm lying about that. I want you to say, no, it was just, you know, he was feeling a little bit of pressure. No, I want you to literally answer what I have just said. It either happened or it didn't. I'm either making it all up or it happened exactly as I'm saying. And while we're at it, may I ask, what is the name of the Jewish donor who sponsored the Hamptons weekend? Okay. And to Pastor Rob McCoy, were there any LLCs that you or your son were being paid through that sat outside of Turning Point? I'm asking that question genuinely. Yeah, I'm putting the fire here right at the feet of Turning Point because I am disgusted. I am genuinely disgusted. I am looking around and wondering whether Charlie's entire life was the Truman Show. None of you guys are behaving in the way that you should be behaving, okay? There is no way you are letting these lies fly unless, as I'm hearing, unless it is true that there was a big payday that was on the line. And if Charlie radically stated that he was done with Israel, if Charlie said he had no choice but to abandon the pro-Israel cause because of, and I quote, Jewish donors, the behavior of Jewish donors, if he said that, yes or no, well then, I don't know, maybe some people didn't want to take that risk that he was going to, become Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson at Turning Point USA with all of those presences, so much presence across college campuses. Maybe they didn't want to take the chance. You see, I'm just one person, so it's easy to just try to cancel my life and lie on me every second of every day. But Turning Point USA, I think, got a little bit bigger than Charlie, and I'm no longer going to allow this lie in this narrative, so answer the questions, yes or no. And I'm going to, again, challenge you to lie. And if you do lie, I'm going to expose the lies. And I'm going to start dropping videos, actually. So that's where I'm at. Enough of the games. Enough with trying to allow Israel to wrangle a narrative that you know is not true. Charlie did not die pro-Israel. He did not die for Israel. He did not martyr himself as a friend of Israel. In fact, the friends of Israel were pressuring him really badly. And he was done. And he finally stood up for himself. And I'm proud of that. And I will say this, you know what? Somewhere, Charlie is watching, okay? And I hope he knows that we are reunited, okay? We're on stage right now, and the Jewish donors are very angry about it, extremely angry about it. But it feels good to know that in the end, truth is going to win. So, accept my challenge or don't.
Candace. You figured it out. I will never forgive myself for being in the timeline where I find myself concerned for your well-being. You know what I mean? Like, that's a horrible way to phrase it, but I've never agreed with anything that you have stood for. Like, you... Candace. Okay. Baby. You know, like, France already hates you. The left don't like you a lot. I know you don't care about that. That's fine. I respect what you're doing, but also, where was this energy with the rest of the shit that was going on leading up to this point? Baby, I am concerned for your well-being. Like, I hope you have quintupled your security. Okay. Okay. Like, woman to woman. Because I love to see women on top. I really do. You're an asshole, though. Because, like, transphobic as hell. But, like... You know? Like, we agree, right? Like, am I the only one that's out here, like... No, but really, seriously, I am concerned for your well-being, babe. Like, I'm watching this shit and I'm like, whoa.
Candace Owens is on X still attacking Laura Loomer. Candace Owens makes an allegation that this is the man, meaning Bob Shillman, who funds Laura Loomer. By the way, keep in mind that Laura was attacking Charlie just before he died. And now she demands we stop investigating Charlie's murder. Who is directing her to do that? And it's hilarious because Laura Loomer just rips her a new one again. She says, Bob Shillman doesn't fund me. And even if he was actively funding me, there's nothing wrong with that. He's an American citizen who wrote the check to pay your salary when Charlie Kirk hired you at the Restoration Weekend Conference in Palm Beach, Florida. I know, and you know these facts because I was there when it happened. So you are also funded by Bob Shillman. I was even the first person to tweet it out when Charlie hired you. He used to fund me, but I haven't taken money from him in years. I haven't asked for funds. Maybe I should though, because I bet he would love to support my work again. I am definitely underfunded for the quality of work I do. Dr. Bob, as I call him, funded Project Veritas. When I was at Veritas, I was a Shillman Fellow. Dr. Bob generously paid my salary when I worked for James O'Keefe III. But it doesn't end there. The tweet continues on even longer. I do not get any funding from Bob Shillman. I definitely could use some more funding, though, for my investigations. So perhaps I will give him a call and ask him for some donations, since I certainly deserve more funding for my exceptional work. Are you trying to imply that I'm some type of Mossad spy and that Bob Shillman paid me to attack Charlie? Or are you saying I played a role in killing Charlie? Do you think I pulled the trigger? Or will I have to pay for your show to see that on your next episode? You failed to mention that I had a meeting with Turning Point USA right after Charlie and I argued online. Charlie flew me out to Arizona 2 weeks before his death. I had a meeting with Turning Point USA and he told me that he wanted us to find common ground and Turning Point USA. And I discussed the rise of the woke right and Islam. I stayed at the resort next to Turning Point USA and was given a tour of Turning Point USA and had a really nice 6-hour meeting with Turning Point USA. Charlie even said he wanted my help with several projects in 2026. We resolved our issues before his death. You love to pose loading questions to create conspiracies with zero evidence whatsoever. Bob Shillman funded Veritas, where I was employed for several years, exposing the radical left, which Candace used to be a part of. You have a weird obsession with making Jewish people the scapegoat for all of your issues. You do it every day. It is exhausting, since even as a Jew, you have had more opportunity than I have, thanks to Jews who employed you. You were never silenced the way I was silenced. You enjoyed your Black privilege your entire life. You left your long-term boyfriend to marry a richer white guy. And then you got rich working at companies owned by Jews. I have nothing to hide, and I am honored that Dr. Bob supported me when I worked for Veritas. He is one of the donors who paid the bills for you to work at Turning Point USA when you got hired at that predominantly evangelical conference. Remember when we had dinner with your long-term ex-boyfriend, Ryan, and then you and I flew on the same plane to Palm Beach together, and you were asking me for advice on the plane about how to jumpstart your career from a Black liberal to a Black conservative? I still have the photo we took at the conference together when I had blonde hair. Stop with your bullshit. You think I am as dumb as the people who buy your conspiracies. You think you know everything and you don't. You just entertain an audience that has been gaslit into thinking you are an honest person. Here's the picture from 2017 that we took at Restoration Weekend. That is the second time that Laura Loomer herself has put Candace Owens directly in her place after Candace Owens has provoked her over and over and over again, which has some lingering questions. Why does she keep picking on Laura Loomer? Is it because Laura Loomer has information about Candace Owens, things that she doesn't want to get out, about how she was a liberal most of her life, turned conservative because that was the it thing to be 5 years ago? All of the shorts on Instagram and YouTube and X were all about Charlie Kirk, conservatives, intellectuals, debating college students, leftists, proving them wrong. All I know is that Laura Loomer knows something. And as much as I liked Candace Owens before, this whole Charlie Kirk investigation really opened up my eyes. I still don't want to think that she's attacking Laura Loomer constantly just because of the fact that she's Jewish, because that is anti-Semitism. She clearly has evidence to back up what she's saying, what she knows, what she's seen and heard, and her previous run-ins and engagements with Candace Owens. Candace Owens' last videos on her YouTube channel has prompted the new COO, one of Charlie's dearest friends, into posting this. I am sorry I have to tweet this, but I do. Accusing innocent people. Much worse, accusing the people who knew Charlie best, loved him more than just about anyone, and witnessed his death isn't just wrong. It's baseless, mudslinging on the same level as calling someone a Nazi or fascist who is not. It signals to crazy people many evil ideas, thoughts, and feelings. It is calling the good bad and the innocent criminal. The worst part of this wicked behavior is that it is putting a target on the backs of people working to carry out Charlie's work. From before and after his murder, this harassment may emotionally or physically sideline them, stopping their work and also putting his family, children, and staff in jeopardy. But the only thing Candace Owens is concerned with is cyber stalking and harassing people using Facebook, Instagram, Google Maps to not only find and locate people, but to contact them, their family, their spouses, trying to elicit information about what they seen or did not see on the day of Charlie Kirk's assassination. And this is a step too far, because if this person wanted to come forward, then they would. Candace Owens is not a federal agent or Utah law enforcement that is handling the case. A regular civilian stalking other civilians, especially young college students, is very weird. And just remember for one moment that she has 5.3 million followers on YouTube and over 7.3 million followers on X. And she's posting this person's picture saying we, as in herself and all of those over 10 million followers, did we ever figure out who this person from UVU is? No. And you guys really should just leave people alone. There was over 3,500 people in attendance that day, and not everybody was students or staff of Charlie's. And she's done this before with other people that were there, put for millions and millions and millions of people to see their face, their footage, their Instagram, their Facebook, to the point where witnesses to Charlie Kirk's assassination had to disable their Instagram and Facebook. Candace Owens even confirms this in her last 2 episodes, that one man just completely disappeared, completely just stopped responding to her. Yeah, and that's his right. And that's crazy that they have to disable their entire social media, following their friends, their family, their coworkers, all because somebody keeps harassing them so much that they're fearful, that they don't want to be harassed by content creators dressed up as independent investigators. And thank goodness, because people are starting to wake up. Yes, the letter is real. It was confirmed by Turning Point USA. Yes, it was metadated from the time that he did and finished the letter on his Google Drive. Yes, it was released. It is a real letter from Charlie Kirk to Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu. So saying that the letter is a misrepresentation, calling for him to publish it all, and then Turning Point USA publishing it all, and it literally being a love letter to Israel and a call to aid Israel. 7 pages of very detailed intellectual information on how to help Israel on social media to garner more support, to change Americans' views of what is really happening, then she has the nerve to not directly say, but to imply that the letter is fake, that somebody had access to his laptop. Yeah, that would be his wife. And then she has the audacity to then blame his wife, his staff, and Turning Point USA for why aren't they investigating his murder? Why aren't they asking questions? Why aren't they demanding more is being done? Because it is being done by the professionals, by the appropriate authorities. And that is not Candace Owens. And I don't care what anybody's politics are, but I really liked Candace Owens until my eyes opened. Once they opened, they opened. I don't care what her politics are, but she certainly was a liberal her whole life and switched to being a conservative several years back. Now she is acting once again like a very extreme liberal, like crazy far, far left, disguised and parading around like a true Catholic and conservative, but she's not acting like one. Meanwhile, calling out and attacking everybody that notices she doesn't show any proof, verification, information to back up any of the conspiracy theories surrounding that she's calling law enforcement and the feds dirty, corrupt, lying, and covering up. If you are going to imply that, then you have to imply that they're not just covering up, but that they had a hand directly in the assassination of Charlie Kirk. And for that to be the truth, you have to prove that federal agents or Utah law enforcement are the ones behind the assassination. And she cannot do that because FBI Director Kash Patel is very dear friends with Charlie Kirk and was before he ever became the FBI director. To accuse, heavily imply, or insinuate that any of them had a hand in Charlie Kirk's assassination or covering it up is not only egregious, it is dangerous, it is unfounded, and it's putting other people's lives at risk because now people are attacking Erica Kirk. They're now pointing fingers at her simply for smiling and hosting the Charlie Kirk show over 20 days after her husband was assassinated. Knowing that he was a public figure and that he was so well known on social media, his memorial, his show, his nonprofit organization, now she's in danger and in jeopardy because of baseless accusations and conspiracy theories thrown out there by Candace Owens. And now she's directly calling for Turning Point USA to come forward and prove that she's not lying, demanding that they answer her questions, while simultaneously saying that she knows for a fact Charlie was going to abandon his pro-Israel support. That is a direct attack on his wife, and it doesn't matter what anybody thinks about her. They have a 3-year-old and 1-year-old babies. She's now CEO of Turning Point USA. Now she has to worry for her and her baby's safety even more. Now, saying his pastor was lying and telling him to shut the fuck up and sit the fuck down essentially was disgusting enough. But to kiss Erica Kirk's ass all over X, say she gave one of the most insequential speeches ever in modern American history, and then turn around and attack her like that, to put very dangerous ideas and rhetoric out in the world against her and her now organization like that, I don't even think Candace Owens realizes the depth of what she has done. Because one thing she is very brilliant at doing is narcissistically skating and loopholing through really saying what she wants to say, or committing defamation, or just straight up asking the questions that she wants to know the answers to. She does it in a very conniving and cunning way, while conflating other issues in there like Israel, Jewish people, Zionists, donors, Benjamin Netanyahu, to make you believe that there's something more going on. Yeah, okay. From now on, everybody open your eyes, open your ears, and pay close attention. Ask her the questions because she's not above criticism herself. Demand proof is shown to back up any theory or conspiracy theory. Because one thing's for sure, she had no problem confirming the fact that Charlie Kirk really did have an autopsy. Yes, of course he did. It was an assassination. They had to do an autopsy. They had to get samples and do a toxicology. They had to remove the bullet for evidence in the trial against his killer, Tyler James Robinson. But narcissists don't realize that. They take all this time gaslighting and manipulating when they could have just taken all those 11 videos over an hour and a half each and just simply reached out to Turning Point or his wife and just asked. But that's not fun. But that's not a part of the psychological manipulation. That doesn't get all of the negative views and clicks for all that revenue. All I know is that it's got so completely absurd and obnoxious that even I can't believe it. I cannot believe that up to 3 weeks ago, I absolutely loved and watched Candace Owens all the time.
I've been told that Charlie did indeed have an autopsy. I wanted to let you guys know that because I saw a lot of rumors that were circulating that he did not have an autopsy. That has been confirmed. An autopsy did take place. By the way, you should know that in the state of Utah, in case you, like me, are maybe holding your breath that we're going to see that report, those reports are actually kept private. So there isn't going to be some big release outside of what maybe the immediate family members wishing for that and saying, I feel like something's wrong and I would now like to release the autopsy report. That's the only way that we are going to be able to see it. That's at least what I've learned.
His letter is out. Candace is a grifting liar. Yep, she is. And you know what? She's already doing the back pedal. Yeah, she's doing the back pedal. And she's going to, you know what, at this point, it doesn't matter because I've watched her ridiculous everything. Just now she's pointing a finger at Turning Point USA. Yeah, it's, you know, she's gonna just keep moving the goalposts. Okay, like everybody has to understand, it doesn't matter how much proof you show her. Like I said, this is like extreme radical leftist, basically tactics. That's what she's doing. It's like you can show absolute irrefutable proof to somebody, and if they don't want to believe it, they don't want to hear the truth, then they're going to make up excuses and they're going to manipulate and they're going to use all kinds of sidestepping and rationalizing out of anything but the truth. So yeah, I do not believe that Candace Owens is a Christian. I don't. I really don't. Hearing the way, my gosh, I just saw a clip of her, and I don't know how I missed this, when she's like, they're not going to stop me. I'm going to find out who shot my friend in front of my face. Wait a minute. Were you there, Candace? You know how many people I've had giving me shit about saying how Erica Kirk doesn't have to say a damn thing because her husband was assassinated in front of her? And people have like tried to dissect that and say, well, she wasn't actually there. Oh, but Candace Owens was. Like, do you people hear yourselves? You are defending a woman who is clearly having some kind of psychotic breakdown in front of the whole world. Or she's just a straight up liar. She's just an absolute vile, disgusting, filthy liar. So yeah, that's where this is at. It's, what is she? Is she completely going through some kind of psychosis? Or is she just a really good liar?
Okay, so we need to talk about Candace Owens. Candace Owens, absolute lunatic. She, since Charlie died, has been on this rampage of absolute deception. And, I mean, she's making bank off of it, and that's exactly what she wants. I caught her today in a blatant lie. I'm going to give you the proof. All right? So, in this next clip, you're going to hear her say, she's going to bring up the text messages that everybody wants to say the FBI made or whatever. These text messages where Tyler refers to a vehicle rather than a car. He calls it a vehicle. And she goes on and talks about how these messages are definitely fake because what kid is going to call a car a vehicle? And then what she did is she found some footage of him calling a car instead of calling it a vehicle, right? So here's that footage.
Rhetoric. I am told that Tyler absolutely did not author those text messages. what text messages. He has no idea where these messages came from, believes that they are therefore entirely fictionalized. It turns out, you're going to be shocked, that he doesn't actually use words like vehicle, which should come as no surprise to anyone that has a brain. By the way, I'm sure you caught this, but there's old footage of Tyler Robinson that is now circulating from a car accident that he had. And during the discussion with the officer that showed up, Tyler certainly refers to it as his car, not his vehicle, because that's how most Americans, how most English speakers refer to a car, unless they're in the military or on the police force. So here is 2022 police body cam footage, in case you missed that, of Tyler making a crash report. Take a listen.
Your mom's on her way?
Yeah, she's gonna be a minute. She's got to shuttle over from where she's at to her car and then drive over.
Gotcha.
His mother was going to shuttle over from her car? Interesting.
Pretty clear, right? He calls it a car. He calls his mother's car a car instead of a vehicle. But what she doesn't want you to know is that there's more to that video. And she knows that. She made sure to cut that clip off where she needed to cut it off so that she could lie to your faces and perpetuate the narrative that Tyler is innocent. What friend would do that? That's not a friend. So here's the actual rest, well, not the rest of it, but another portion of the footage where he does indeed refer to a car as a vehicle.
So you're heading
from that rightmost through lane through the intersection. And maybe a second or so before I reached the intersection, the light changed yellow.
Okay, do you remember looking at the light?
Yeah, I was looking up at the light just before getting there.
Okay.
I saw it shift yellow. And as I get into the intersection, there was a vehicle in the lane between like the leftmost through lane.
Yeah. She knows. She knows. And she blatantly cut off footage in a way to lie to you, to lie to your face, to lie to everyone, to further her narrative. So if you're going to be out here and telling people to go watch her for some valid information, I think you need to rethink your choices here. These people, these influencers, they don't care about you. They don't care about the truth. They care about the dollar. They don't even care about their friends. They care about the dollar. And so until you guys realize that and stop thinking that just because they're alternative media, Candace isn't even a journalist. She likes to say she's an investigative journalist, but she's not. She's a conspiracy theorist. She's going to lose the Bridget McCrone case because Bridget McCrone is a woman. So you guys have to get your shit together a little bit, because this was so easily disprovable with a little bit of research that I had done prior. And so when I saw this, I was like, that's bullshit, because he does actually call it a vehicle. And she knows that. So now you know, and I know, and she knows that she's lying to you.
I'm shocked Candace Owens hasn't shared this footage yet on her episodes. Maybe she hasn't seen it yet. Feel free to tag her below. I shared this last night on my stories, and it feels so strange. Watch with me.
Candace Owens got exposed for lying again, because she went crazy after she got fired from Daily Wire. Something happened. She was a voice of reason at one point. And then I guess the fame, success got to her head. Fame and success has a tendency to make people go bonkers, I've noticed. So I hope I never get too big and too famous. But, wow, her obsession with the Jews in Israel is borderline insane. And now she's got proven to be lying again when she was referring to Charlie Kirk's letters to the president of Israel and how he had this, basically he was against Israel. Well, letters just got released today. Complete fabrication. She has this delusional story in her head of things that isn't happening. What do we call that? We call that insanity. She needs help. Really bad.
Since I made my video about Candace Owens and how I felt like she didn't have the best spirit, I've been getting a lot of comments from her followers like this. And, you know, over time, they started kind of irritating me, right? And I'm like, well, why am I getting so irritated by these comments? I think it's important that we always ask why. Why do we feel a certain way? Where is certain emotions coming from? And so I got to thinking about my feelings and why I feel angry, right? About the whole Candace Owens situation and these comments. And it occurred to me that what I'm feeling is a righteous anger. And the reason that I'm upset is because Candace Owens is getting a lot of people to break one of the 10 commandments of God, okay? And that is bearing false witness. You know the commandment that says, thou shalt not lie? Well, it was actually, thou shalt not bear false witness against your neighbor. So what is false witness? Well, it's somebody that makes up things that are not true and tries to pin them on somebody else. And what she's doing with the Charlie Kirk situation is wrong on so many levels, because she has made a multi-series YouTube show about Charlie Kirk's assassination. And in this series, she's pinning his assassination on people and organizations and countries without a lot of facts. And it bothers me as well, because there are a lot of new believers and young people who look up to her and follow her, right? And I used to follow Candace, okay? So I get it. But if she wasn't claiming to be a Christian, I wouldn't even say anything about her, because there are people that are not Christian that say things, and I'm like, well, they don't know any better. But she's claiming to be a Christian, right? She's using the Bible to justify her sins and her own viewpoints that go against God. She's not being fair-minded, and she's leading so many people astray. And I feel anger about that, because there's so many young people like this young lady who look up to her and think that she's being an honest and pure person. And here's an evidence, something that just recently came out about the kind of person that she is. When it came to the Bridget McCrone series, right? A series that I watched, right? And I was already unsure about her, but I watched it. And she says, I will stake my whole professional career on that this is a man, right? And she's like, I'm excited to go to court. Well, it turns out she's trying now to get the lawsuit dismissed. And so I do not see her as an honest person, and it angers me that she has manipulated and misled so many young people today that think that she's just being an honest and fair person. And she's put them into the same craziness that she's in, because you don't even know. Like, I've gotten so many people to ask me who's paying me for supporting Israel as a Christian. And it's because they follow her, and she plants all this stuff in their minds, and they don't know which way to go or who to trust and who not to trust. They think everything's some big Israel conspiracy now, and it bothers me.
We don't know, no, but we know. We know. We know. No. You know? We might not know. No, but we know. We certainly know. Israel. Benjamin Bibi Netanyahu. I dare you. Publish the letter in full. You mean this 7-page letter? No. I mean, you are misrepresenting this letter. I am challenging you to publish it in full. Why not publish it in full? I mean, I wouldn't have it if it wasn't already published in full, right? What's missing? There's a whole paragraph not here. Was it sent in the mail or was it sent via email? I don't know about you, but I have a feeling. Let's make this very clear right now. Feelings are not facts. Feelings and opinions are not facts. Feelings don't mean anything. Feelings don't matter. Truth. Only truth is fact, and only facts are truth. Science is a cult. Once you learn the history of science, you learn that science is a cult. And science is a little fake and gay. Gotta be honest. Science is a cult, and cults are a little bit fake and gay. Wouldn't you agree? Doesn't it feel a little bit like a cult, like Scientology? Yeah, Scientology is fake and gay too. Because if you look at the history of science and the science in general, and you know the history of it, you would know things like biology are fake and gay as well, right? There's only 2 genders, male and female. Biology says so, right? Biology, the science and the study of the human anatomy, little fake and gay, but there's only 2 genders because biology tells us so. You are either male or female. You are either in your chromosome XY or XX. There is no ABC in chromosomes. There is no ZYMPO. You are XX or XY. You are either male or female. Okay, everybody, we have a very interesting show for you today. And because my team is very small, I ask you, please only send in tips that are legitimate tips. Do not send me links to TikTok videos. Do not send me links to YouTube videos. Just real information that I need to back up my conspiracy theories, please, because I am pulling at the strings here and I'm coming up short. Goth girls. Just because they're wearing all black doesn't mean they're goth girls. That's a misrepresentation of the absence of color. That is a misrepresentation of an entire genre of people who call themselves gothic. Who is that guy talking to those 2 girls that just happen to be dressed in black? Science is a cult. Science doesn't exist. It's fake and it's gay. But I'm going to use the science of biology to tell you there's only 2 genders, male and female. We don't know, but we know. So we have the entire indictment for the charges of Mr. Tyler James Robinson. And all I can say is Israel. Bibi Netanyahu, the Jews. This is all orchestrated by the feds. This is all orchestrated by Utah law enforcement. Something doesn't feel right here, people. Feelings are not facts. Feelings are a little fake and gay too. The unaliving of my very dear friend, who I didn't even have updated in my contact list on my phone. Somebody that I was not even following on Instagram. This feels a little weird to me. I don't know about you, but this feels a little bit weird to me. It feels like we're not getting the full story. It feels like a whole bunch of not truthness. It feels like a whole lot of fake and gay to me. So I'm going to do it 2 entire shows for over an hour and a half to let you know that I got in my tip line 100% source, and I vetted, I verified, I corroborated, I double verified, and I triple corroborated. This source is legit. This source is legit. When they tell me that Tyler James Robinson does not have any kind of ideation, that this is not true, that he does not say the word squad car or vehicle. I don't know about you, but it feels like my very good friend's other very good friend, Kash Patel, is working with Israel. Bibi Netanyahu, the Jewish donors, the Jews, they have to be behind this. They have to be behind this. Nowhere in this 10-page indictment does it say twice by his own mother and father that he did have ideation, that he would rather end it than ever go to jail, and that he would rather not be here than have to go in and admit what he did. And I got confirmation from a source that he absolutely did not make a confession to anybody. So that's weird that his mother, his father, a family friend who happens to be a retired deputy with the sheriff's department, it's really kind of fake and gay, really kind of coincidental that they are saying that, and that he would go on to tell his lover, his trans roommate lover, Lance Twiggs, that, yep, I'm just going to give you all this information. Here it is right here in text. I did it. I'm sorry. I care about nothing but you, love. Yeah, a third confession. I was told there was no confession at all. But, you know, the feds, Utah law enforcement, the justice system, they're all fake and gay. It's all a conspiracy. It's all a part of the matrix. And what you're not seeing is the truth. But only I have the truth, because I have a deep spiritual feeling that we're not being told the full truth. And I can't wait till trial. I don't care if it impedes justice or tampers with witnesses. My timeline demands the truth. Why is nobody else at Turning Point USA? His own robotic wife. Why isn't the president or his friend, FBI Director Kash Patel? Why are they not seeking the truth? Why am I the only friend of his that is asking the questions? I don't care if Charlie said over 7 pages how much he loves Israel, how much he was willing to help Benjamin Netanyahu and Israel and the Jewish people. I'm telling you, the sentences might be the sentences as they were written, but this is a misrepresentation in full of what Charlie Kirk meant. I'm telling you, the FBI, the CIA, Utah, they have a hexagon bee, honeycomb beehive on their state flag. And I was looking it up on the internet, and I'm telling you, bees. They were talking about bees, but they were not talking about bees. It's a military operation. It's a military operation that is pulling out people from these colleges to do these terrible things against political figures that they don't like. I have absolutely no faith that MK Ultra ever was discontinued. I urge everybody to take your children out of the school district. They are indoctrinating your children. It doesn't matter if it's a Catholic school, public school, if it's a private school, take your kids out of the school system. Homeschool them. I know, not everybody is worth $250 million like my husband, or $6 million like me, plus the $2 million I'm making off of my last 11 videos all about my really good friend, proving absolutely nothing. But I urge you, homeschool your children. They're going to try to teach your kids about the cult of science. And they're going to try to teach your kids about dinosaurs. And dinosaurs don't exist. They never existed. Dinosaurs are fake and gay. You do not want the kids learning that the earth is a sphere, because the earth is flat. The earth is flat.
And now she's saying Charlie was going to abandon his entire belief in Israel because of Jews, and she has no proof of that and is telling TPUSA, you need to say that I'm lying and prove it.
About 48 hours before Charlie Kirk died, Charlie informed people at Turning Point, as well as Jewish donors and a rabbi, that he had no choice but to abandon the pro-Israel cause outright. Okay, Charlie was done. He said it explicitly, that he refused to be bullied anymore by the Jewish donors. Can you guys answer? Did he express that? Did he also express that he wanted to bring me, Candace Owens, back because he was standing up for himself? And then did he, just 48 hours later, conveniently catch a bullet to the throat before our onstage reunion could happen? It's a yes or a no. Yeah, I'm putting the fire here right at the feet of Turning Point because I am disgusted. I am genuinely disgusted. I am looking around and wondering whether Charlie's entire life was the Truman Show. None of you guys are behaving in the way that you should be behaving, okay? There is no way you are letting these lies fly.
I mean, listen, and his life was the Truman Show. How dare she? I mean, how dare... Out of all the pundits out there, Charlie was the most grounded. It's like indescribable what he's done for conservatism, and she's trying to discredit him
and his entire organization that he built, and that we were about to have a reunion on a stage. Then bitch, prove it. If you have got all of these receipts, why is she not showing them? It's like she's just teasing everybody because it's more money, more money, more money, more money.
That is her pattern. That's her grift, Mock. Put the outlandish claims out there, let people chase the laser, and then people will be like, oh my God, I love this. I'm going to eat it up. Subscribe to my newsletter.
Thank you for watching. Thank you for your time. Please like and share. Don't forget to smash the subscribe button, and I will catch you all on the flip side.